What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to the brother Sean for the $10 donation via the Cash App. He says his question was, how do I think Toni Kukoc would be in today's NBA? And he said, as a footnote, his favorite NBA players of all time are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, and Toni Kukoc. So, salute to you. Man, look, Toni Kukoc was a precursor to what became the European flood that we started seeing, I'd say about 10 to 15 years later, as far as European players coming over into the leagues. And Toni Kukoc was good. Okay, Toni Kukoc was a very, very good player. He won the 1995-96 Six-Man of the Year award. And I don't see the Chicago Bulls winning any of those championships without Toni Kukoc's contributions. By that point in time, Toni Kukoc was, I think, in his mid-20s. I think he was in his mid-20s when he finally came over to play in the league, like about 24 or so, 24, 25. I think the Bulls acquired his rights in 1990, but for political reasons, Toni Kukoc didn't actually come into the league until around 93. And there was also political reasons why Arvydas Sabonis didn't play in the NBA until around 95. But anyway, I think if he was playing today in his prime, I think Toni Kukoc would be so much better because the game is suited for his strengths. Today's game is suited so much more for his strengths. Toni Kukoc played in an era where power forwards were supposed to be power forwards. And Toni Kukoc's weakness, his biggest weakness, was his defense. His defense was not very good, especially in the post. It was terrible, okay? He was not a very strong guy to be 6'10", 230. And back then, you had to have some type of strength, especially lower core strength, which he didn't really have. And he used to get chewed up alive. And that's one of the reasons why the Chicago Bulls had to acquire a guy like Dennis Rodman, because Toni Kukoc was not able to be productive on those defensive assignments in the post. But what Toni Kukoc did provide, and that's why he was so much suited coming off the bench for Chicago, was offense. Now, offensively, Toni Kukoc was a matchup nightmare because he was 6'9.5". Although they listed him as 6'11", Kukoc was never 6'11". He was more around 6'9.5". Maybe in shoes, he was 6'10.5", and they rounded up to 6'11". But still, with that, Toni Kukoc was 6'9.5". With the type of release and length that made it very difficult, especially in that era, for perimeter players to block his shot or alter his shot from the perimeter. But, the league was a lot more physical back then. So, I think Tony's best season, I think it might have been the 99 lockout season, or it might have been when he was playing with Iverson. But one of those years, I think he averaged around 18 points. So I think his best years, Toni might have averaged around 18 points, 6 rebounds, and maybe, and I'm guessing here, maybe around 5 assists. Solid numbers. The shooting percentages were never really that great. I think a good year for him would be 43%, 44% shooting, 30, 75% from three and 74% from the line. His shooting percentage has never jumped out at you. But I would think with today, when his lack of defense could be masked better and you could cover for him more because it's a more positionless league, I think that he would not be as noticeably a bad defender in today's league. He would be more probably inclined to play the small forward position and not power forward. And his ability to shoot, his ability to play make, and his sheer size would make him, in a league that's predicated on shooting and passing, probably would make him a superstar. I would say it would probably make him a superstar in today's league. And I don't know his numbers, but I would say, or at least an all-star, at the very least an all-star. I mean, because we look at it, in his time in Europe, Toni Kukoc was a superstar. And that style of play, as I said before, was more suited for Toni. So all it does is stand to reason that in today's league, man, I don't think he'd be Nikola Jokic, but I could see him putting up, at least from a points per game perspective, I could see him putting up numbers like Peja Stojakovic. I could see him putting up numbers similar to Peja with better assist numbers. I think that's about right. Now, I don't know about the shooting percentages will be the same, but I could see him definitely, with the way spacing is today, I could see him shooting, 46% from the floor, maybe 37, 38% from three. And with, the way they practice free throws so much now, maybe around 77, 78%, 79, closed in on 80. I could definitely see that. And, and one thing I do remember about Toni is, unlike a Peja Stojakovic, who on a per nightly basis was more efficient than Toni, when it really mattered, Toni could knock down big shots. That's something that he proved time and time again playing on the Chicago Bulls. So he could play championship winning ball. And you could also, I could see with Toni on some teams, I could see him having the offense run through him and putting up even better numbers. Like I could see him on a bad team, now that I think about it, having the offense run through him, kind of like how Hedo Turkoglu was having the offense run through. Because think about it, Toni Kukoc is better than Hedo Turkoglu, right? And Hedo Turkoglu with Orlando was a beast. The offense was running through Hedo Turkoglu the year they went to the finals. So, yeah, I could definitely see Toni Kukoc playing on a good team and elevating them to the point where they make it to the playoffs and have some deep playoff runs. But I think in order to win a championship, you got to team Toni up with, I think, at least two other stars. That's just how I look at it. And I think Toni would be the guy who sacrificed more. And, that's just me. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.